Good evening once again, and welcome to this edition of Sisters Strengthening Sisters Talk Show. I'm your host, Lady D, along with my beautiful co-host, Dr. Lois Sultan. And today we have another phenomenal woman on our show today. I have known her for maybe about 8 or 9 years, maybe more. But I know her to be a busy, working woman. Y'all think I'm busy? No. She's busy, very busy, and very professional at all times. And I am happy to have her on the show today. She is none other than, is it doctor, is it pastor, is it?
Reverend Dr. Robert.
Reverend Dr. Moore. So, let's welcome her today. And she's written some books, she's an author, she does management, and she will tell you a little bit about that right now. But before she does, we can't forget to let you know about the Sisters 15th Annual Sister Strengthening Sisters Conference coming up in July. Yes. July 13th through the 15th. We have some phenomenal things that are going to be happening. We're going to let you know about those different things. And also, we are doing the Sisters Cruise this year. In November, we have quite a few people who have been calling and asking about information for the cruise. So we're going to get that information to you within the next 2 weeks. And we will be expecting you to come and go with us. Sister groups, sister ministries, or if you just want to get away and have some fun, we're going to have a good time on the cruise. This is our second cruise that we'll be going on. Come on board and travel along the waterways with us for Sister Strengthening Sisters. At this time, we are going to bring on our special guest, Dr. Robin Moore. So, Dr. Robin, talk to us about what you have been doing in the past year.
Well, before I talk to you about my journey this past year,
Yes.
I would just like to say how honored I am to be on this television show and to be here supporting your ministry.
Thank you.
When I've learned of your ministry years ago, I said, that is phenomenal. You know, sisters strengthening sisters. And in my experiences and all that I have gone through, you know, I knew that the Lord called me to be an encouragement for women.
Yes.
You know, I started off my life encouraging children. I love children, you know, I just love children. And as I got older and had more diverse experiences, I knew the Lord called me to just encourage women.
Amen.
So if I had to think of a phrase that best described my life, I would have to say, against all odds. You know, I've always been a fighter, I've always been ambitious, but I've always been doubting as well. When I was in high school, my guidance counselor told my mother that I was not college material. Yes, she did.
Wow.
But
How you like me now?
Yes. You know, against all odds, I have 4 college degrees.
Yes.
When I started my career in administration, you know, I taught in Pleasantville for 10 years. I didn't go to school to be a teacher. I went to school for business administration. I wanted to be an attorney. I wanted to help people who couldn't help themselves. So as I was working in the school district, I was studying to, you know, take the exam to go to college. And one day after choir rehearsal, we were talking about my love for teaching. I was talking about my kids, but in the same breath, I was saying next week I have to go take the LSAT, you know, for college entry. And my sister, Rachel, she said, Robin, what do you really want to do? And I said, I want to help people who can't help themselves.
Right.
And she said, that's what you're doing in teaching. And I said, but I believe I was called to be just a little bit higher than a teacher. And she said, go to school, get your master's, and become a principal. And then boom, boom. That was it. It was just that simple. It was really that simple. But when I left teaching, left my hometown, and became a principal in the bigger district, people doubted me. Against all odds, they said she's not going to make it in that district.
Wow.
Not going to make it as an administrator. 20 years later, I have been administrator for 22 years.
Look at God.
Look at God.
Look at God.
I have made history as being the first African American female administrator in the history of Egg Harbor Township School District. And I've also made history for being the first African American female principal in Galloway Township. And thus far, I have been the only African American female principal in Galloway Township.
Wow.
And I'm still going, and the Lord is still blessing me in my career. I served as the president of the New Jersey Principals and Supervisors Association for the state of New Jersey.
All right.
And I have gone to DC and Chicago, and I have been presenting and speaking for people who said I couldn't make it. They said I couldn't make it. When I
Where are
was,
they now?
well, they're around. They're around. And they have been around. And I'm not a I told you so person. I'm a look at God. Look how God has blessed me.
Yes, yes.
Because I know that everything I had been given to me from God. And I appreciate that. And I know that the gifts that God has given me was designed to bless other people. And I don't take that lightly. I don't take that for granted. So against all odds, that's my story. That is definitely my story. I have a book called God's Perfect Plan.
Right.
And in this book, I wrote this book not on purpose. I'm a journaler, and I like to keep a journal. And in the 90s, I was training for the Olympics. But I was an adult, I was teaching, I was coaching, but I had this desire, this burning in me to train for the Olympics, because after all, people told me I couldn't do it. I couldn't run on a national level. Well, I have trophies, I have gold watches from Penn Relays, I have gold medals, I ran on the national level, state champion, national champion, masters champion for USA track and field, and I even made the qualifying times for the 96 Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah. I did not run in the Olympics. I should have been there. At that same time, I got married, and it sort of interfered with my training. I should have gotten married after the Olympics. I didn't listen to God. I got married before.
Right.
My husband said he would support me, but it was an abusive situation, infidelity, and I just had my eyes on the prize.
Right.
And the end of the story showed how God used my desire to run on the largest stage in the world to get me through my tough situation and give me that victory that I needed.
Wow.
And you got to read the book to find out what happened.
Yes.
But it is such an encouragement. And when it happened, I saw it. I saw God working. And I said, this book, I want to encourage every woman who has gone through an abusive relationship, every woman who has a goal and someone told you you couldn't do it.
That's right.
God has a plan for you. God's perfect plan.
And I'm telling you, this is a traveling woman. I've seen her at the Stellas. I've seen her in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
You know, I've seen her at many different events, and she was running things. She wasn't just there. She was running things for these different events that they were having, and you know, she does an awesome job with her family. They have the best dinner every year, you know, so this is a busy woman, and I'm glad that you did not let those people that said you would never do it or you could never be
Do it.
this or that. I'm glad that you didn't let them stop, because a lot of times we let people tell us what we can and what we cannot do.
Exactly.
Who we are and who we are not.
That's
But
right.
only God
Yes.
can tell you on the inside who you really are,
Yes.
what you can do, and yes, you will do it, and I'm going to be there for you.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you allowed for him to do just that.
You know,
Yes.
God says, I know the plans I have.
Exactly.
for you."
Exactly.
And God's plans is not man's plan.
No, it's not.
Because everything you was saying, I was sitting there and I said, you know what, God? Everything she said, somebody said to me.
Exactly.
The same thing. You're not college material. You can't do this. You can't do
That's
that.
right.
And I said, God, I'm so glad that I didn't listen to them.
Right.
Especially as a young woman, because you know, I was just headstrong then.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I was going to do it just because you said I couldn't do
Exactly.
it back
Exactly.
then
Exactly.
as a young woman.
Exactly.
But God's plans are so much higher
Mhm.
than men's plans.
Mhm.
You know, and if you will just rely on God,
Exactly.
you know, as Joel Osteen will say, he'll take you places you never imagined.
That's
Exactly.
He'll have you
Exactly.
doing
Yes,
things you
yes,
never
yes.
Yes.
imagined. So I'm just so glad that you just persevered
Yes,
that
yes.
and that you push through that.
Mhm.
And you know, and when we are on our way, on our journey, there's always obstacles.
Yes, there are.
Because you know the enemy, he's gonna come.
Mhm.
That's how you know it's from God.
Yes.
Because he's not gonna bother you.
Exactly.
You know, if
Exactly.
he's got you. So when we're on our journey, he's gonna throw every obstacle in your way.
Yes, yes.
And then God allows you to overcome those obstacles.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
You know, so that you can be a
Mhm.
testament to somebody else. Yeah, I heard the same thing.
Mhm.
I had those same obstacles. But with God, I overcame those obstacles.
Yes, yes.
So you can do it too.
Mhm.
If
And with,
I did,
and
you
with
can do
patience.
it.
With patience.
With
Yes.
patience.
Yes.
And
And
with
the only
perseverance.
problem is that sometimes when these things happen, we don't think that it's going to happen
Mhm.
from our spouse
Right.
or a family member
Right.
or a best
Right.
friend. You know, so that's where the problems comes because we don't look at them
Mhm.
because we're not expecting it to happen from them.
Mhm.
We're expecting it to happen from some stranger,
Right,
or
right.
a stranger, or
Mhm.
somebody that don't even like us. You know,
Exactly.
but never somebody that say that they love you and
Mhm.
they care about you and they're there for you and they support you and it looks good, you know, and when people see you, you know, it looks good, but then behind the closed doors, it's a whole different
Yes,
story.
it is. Yes, it is.
You know, and it's a wonderful thing that you talk about that in your book
Mhm.
because other women do need to hear that because some women don't know how to get out of it. See, me, at a certain point, I'm getting out of this no matter what. I don't care, you can talk about me, say I was married 25 times, I'll get married 30 times until I get it right. Okay? Whatever. It's between me and God. God will work it out for me, you know, or whatever. But you have to know when enough is enough.
Exactly.
You know, because some people, because of what they believe in, they stay in stuff that stunt their growth,
Mhm.
that hurt them. They're being hurt, and they cannot move on
Right.
to another level. They can't tell another woman, you know, what happened to them to make them overcome the situation that they were in.
Mhm.
So if it's someone that's out there that's listening,
Mhm.
and you're in an abusive relationship, God doesn't want you to be in an abusive relationship.
He's gonna make a
You
way
know,
out.
you're supposed to be equally yoked. You're supposed to work things out together.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be a loving relationship because our Father is a loving God.
Mhm.
And so it's supposed to be a loving relationship. And I'm not just talking about with a male and a female. I'm talking about with a family member, talking about with the church, I'm talking about with your job, I'm talking about with your best friends. If that relationship is toxic, let it go.
Right.
And remember, whatever vision God has given you or whatever purpose He has given you, God's time is not our time.
That's
And that's what we have to learn.
Right.
You know, and you all heard me say this, I'm turning 60. I said, God, why is this happening now? I'm old. I'm an old lady now.
Right,
You know what? But now it's time.
Mhm.
Because
I'm
now-
never old.
You know what I mean? I've been through the process.
Right,
right.
See, we all have to go through a process
Mhm.
to get to where God is taking you.
Right.
So it might not happen at 30 like I thought it was going to happen.
Right.
It might not happen at 40.
Right.
You might be like me, sisters and brothers, it's going to happen at 60.
Mhm.
But you got to believe it, and then you have to, not lose sight of that vision. You know,
Exactly.
you have to be like Habakkuk said, write the vision.
Right.
And
Make it
then
plain.
make it plain.
Yes, yes.
And realize that it's not too late.
Mhm.
And God's time is not always our time.
Exactly, and that's very good that you said that.
Mhm.
God does have a plan.
Mhm.
And Hebrews 12:1, one of my favorite scriptures says, let us run with patience the race
Right.
that has been set before us.
Yes.
So when God gives you a race set before you,
Right.
those obstacles will come.
Right.
But you need a roadmap. And what got me through were the scriptures. When
Right.
I was going through my training and my divorce, my brother-in-law, Duncan,
Mhm.
he would come every week with this envelope. And in this envelope, I would open it up and would just be scriptures.
Right.
And I would take it with me. It would be in my gym bag. I would take it to the track. I would take it to the track meet. I would take it everywhere I went. I had those encouraging scriptures everywhere. And then when I started going through those life trials, on my job, in my marriage, in my life, I turned to those scriptures and I put this together. Now this is, it's your journey, it's your life, the Women's Devotional Journal. Now, every scripture that Duncan gave me that got me through those hard times is here.
Wow.
And these are scriptures that we as women go through with every topic. Survival, but I survive. Faith, believe it or not. Exhaustion and anxiety. Don't we go through it?
That's right.
Don't we go through
That's
it?
right.
Being busy, it has to come at a cost.
Yes.
Loneliness, after the divorce, you do get lonely.
Yes.
Perseverance, you got to keep persevering. Trust, who do you trust?
That's right.
Who do you trust? Patience and patience. Wait for it. You got to wait for it.
Right.
My sister and my brother-in-law, gospel duo, Duncan and Michelle, been waiting for years, and this is their season.
Yes.
But they kept persevering.
Come on.
Love,
Yes.
the love that binds. God's love. Guidance, God is our guiding light. Victorious journey. Victory will come.
Yes.
You hold in there, victory will come.
Yes.
And forgiveness. You got to forgive yourself. You got to forgive that person who offended you, or you will go nowhere. And then prayer. Don't forget to pray.
Right.
So everything we go through, I put this together to help women. And it's a journal. I give a testimony. I tell you what God has to say about it. I give you your roadmap, which are the scriptures. You have a section where you can write your vision, and then it ends with a prayer. So my life has been ordered, and I know my life has been ordered. And the work that I do in organizing, when you see me doing a Soul Food Gospel Fest or a Perfect Plan event, and I told my sister, and I'm not bragging, I'm very, very humble, but everything that I put together or everything that God allows me to touch, it is successful.
Yes.
Because it comes from God. And people say, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know. I just put my heart into it. I put a team of people together. We work together. We have everyone in my family. We work in different areas because God put us together to work together. A family that truly prays together, stays together. Now, we have our challenges, trust me, but we know that prayer keeps us together because God, when God is in the midst,
Right.
okay, you will be successful.
That's
You
right.
will hold on. God will give you that courage and that strength to hold on.
And the important thing that you said is team. When you have a team of people that want to work together and you all are going for the same goals on one thing, then it's gonna work. I can say that this year, well, actually started last year, that I have the most wonderful team working with me now that I've ever had. And I don't have the same people with me as when I first started, except for Veronica Mumford. She was there day one, she's been there for a long time. And now Dr. Lois, she's been there for a pretty good while as well. But you're gonna have people, and that was the hardest thing for me, because nothing's to me, and I always say this to everybody, nothing to me is more important than loyalty. Loyalty to me is everything. So you're not gonna always have the same people that you started with that you're gonna end with. There may be some that come, some that go, some that copy what you do, some that do what they do. It's gonna always change. And that was the hardest thing for me, because I was like, I wonder why they're not here. I wonder why they didn't, stay here. They said they like doing this, but they had their own agenda. But of course, I wasn't looking at it that kind of way, because sometimes you just want people to be there, and you want to work. You think you can work everything out, but you have to let God work it out for you.
Exactly.
And I learned that God has to work it out for you. But He's been doing some amazing things, and I'm just happy about how everything is going now, how He's working it out, how He says it's a good thing to rest sometimes and to allow for other people to do what it is that they do, to bring them on board. I've never been that kind of person that it's me, it's me, it's me, I'm gonna do that, it's all me or me. No, I bring in a whole doggone block. Come on, and to help, you know, to do something, to make it work, to make it phenomenal, to see how it's going to turn out, you know.
You know, it's interesting that you said that people who started with you aren't with you. And during the pandemic, I did a whole series, Matters of the Heart. It was a live series. In one of my series, I talked about people coming to your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Come on.
And then sometimes you have to reflect and look at the reason why they were there. And I look at it differently. Instead of saying, oh my God, I was hurt by that individual, that person said it would be by my side, they would work with me, and they're not here, and you think about it. During that season, what did you accomplish? What was the reason?
Right.
Okay? And what is that reason that person was there?
Right.
And then you have your lifetimers. So reason, a season, and a lifetime, and that's how I look at people now, and people entering into my life.
And that's a good way to look at it, because it gives you a whole brand new outlook
Yes, it does.
on people and on life.
Yes, it does.
You know, and you don't have to worry about being hurt
Right.
behind people or life, because now you have that different outlook
Exactly.
on how things are supposed to run. You know, the same people that started out with Jesus when he was out there, they didn't stay, you know, or they did different things, or they left, you know, even did crazy things, you know, but you have to just know that when God is in it, you don't have to worry about anything. He's gonna work out those
He will.
details. When he sees that you're dedicated and this is your goal and this is, you know, you're working towards the goal, then you can know in your heart that he's going to take it to the highest level.
Yes.
Sometimes it just takes so long and you're like, God, when? I don't want to do this no more. Can I do something else? You know, can we start a new project?
Right.
You know, can we do something else? But then he says, no, this is the vision that I gave you. So you got to take it to the end. You know, and sometimes you don't feel like taking it to the end. You don't want to even do it.
Right.
No. You know, and especially when it's working with women.
Yes.
Woo, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But I am certainly glad to see that you are still doing the most wonderful things that you do, because this is something that you enjoy.
Yes, it is. Yes,
You know,
it is.
and with the school and stuff like that, wow, that's just awesome and amazing. I knew you did something in school. I knew you was a principal. I knew that, but I didn't know you was doing as much as you
Yes,
did.
I'm
You
an
know, 'cause I
adjunct.
always see you with Duncan
And Rachel.
so-
You know, I'm an adjunct professor for Rowan University, where I got my doctorate. You know, because I love teaching. You know, I love administration, but I love teaching in church, teaching women, teaching children. I love teaching leaders. I love teaching.
Right.
Yes.
That's wonderful. That is really awesome. You know, and just to know the different things that you do. Well, I know that we are going to eventually have Duncan and Rachel on the show.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, so what's up next for them?
Oh my God, goodness, their CD, this project is just phenomenal. I mean, you've been in the radio business, so you know the industry.
Yes.
And I'm the manager, and for the past 20 years, I've been pushing the music and talking to people and had doors closed in my face and closed and closed. But this year, with this project, it's remarkable. I mean, 26 radio stations from California to New Jersey playing their music. The Bahamas,
Amen.
Cuba, New
Amen.
Mexico, Las Vegas.
Beautiful.
They're playing music. I mean, I'm hearing people
Because they hung in it.
Yes, people are answering the phone and they're talking to me, giving me advice and calling me, giving me numbers to key producers. And I'm like, this has never happened before. People are calling me, inviting
It's
us
their
to say,
time.
yes, I need you on this program, are you available? I mean, to the point where we have to turn some radio interviews down because of the work schedule, but I'm trying to get them back in there.
Wow.
But it's amazing, so this is definitely their time.
And they already
It's
said
their time.
that, you know, this is the takeover.
Yeah. Okay.
They already said we're gonna take over,
Yes.
and they take over the airwaves
Yes.
when they come on the radio.
Yes, their new single "After the Rain" is a blessing. It is just, it's just a blessing. And when people hear it for the first time, boom, I'm adding it. So it's a blessing.
That's
Yes,
good.
yes.
That's good. And so, and then traveling with them, and
Yes.
along with the schoolwork, along with being a principal, along
Yes.
with writing your books.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Well, see, when your children are grown, and I claim my niece Shayna as my child,
Right.
and you have an empty nest, you fill your time, you know?
Yes.
And you find time, I find time for me, but right now I'm doing the things that I love to do.
Mhm.
And I'm managing it. You have to manage it. You have to get your rest, because if you don't, you're gonna be curled up on the couch, in a ball, high anxiety, okay? With the blankets over your head, saying, I can't come out, you know?
Right, right.
Like it has to be a balance.
Yes.
And I knew that. My mom used to always say, because I used to always say, I gotta. And mom would say, Robin, stop saying what you gotta do.
And do it.
Right. And we don't stop saying so much of what you have to do. Sometimes you don't have to do it all, just balance.
Oh,
So it has to be a balance. It has to be a
It's
balance.
the third time I done heard that this week, so
It has to be a balance. You gotta
balance.
balance your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you do a lot, you know, it's exciting, especially if you do the things that you love and you
Yes.
enjoy.
Yes.
So there's a difference.
Yes.
Because the things that you do, you know, are things that you really love and enjoy. You know, you're writing with Duncan and Rachel. You're gonna get anyone else besides Duncan and Rachel? Or you just working with them?
When I retire from education, which probably won't be until another 3 to 5 years, then I'm really going to get involved in more of the Perfect Plan professional services, and because I have had artists who asked me to manage them. But I
Right.
just can't right now. I know, common sense wisdom, my life is too busy to manage someone else right now. My
Right.
hands are full of gospel doing talking to
I
Rochelle.
know.
Okay? It really is. So once I retire and really do the work of the ministry, do the work within the women's ministry and the outreach ministry, that's what I really want to do when I retire and finish with Duncan and Rochelle.
Amen. Well, I know it is certainly a pleasure having you here on the talk show today, because I know how busy you are. I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. And if somebody wanted to reach out to you and get one of your books, how would they reach out to you?
Well, you can go on my website, www.perfectplanprofessionalservices.com, or you can call me, 609-909-8729. It's your journey, it's your life is now on Kindle, on Amazon. It will be hard copy in Amazon by the end of the month. And my book of poetry, Wondering, which also features Duncan. Duncan writes poetry as well. This will be on Amazon by the end of the month as well.
Okay, so there you heard it, and there you got the information, and just in case you want to reach out to her, or there's a woman or a young woman that want to talk to her about her life story and how she overcame some of the things that she did, this is the time to call her. Give her a call and just tell her, talk to her, because she's a wonderful person to
Yes.
talk to, and she's a wealth of information. So there you have it. Today, our special guest was none other than Dr. Robin. I love her. I love her books. I've read her books. And it's just phenomenal to know that even though you've gone through some things, God still takes you through. And that's why that saying is so true. You never look like you went through anything. That's because of the God that's on the inside of you.
Amen.
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 So we want to welcome and thank everybody who was tuned in. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, everybody that was tuned in today for our special guest, Dr. Robin. Also, my co-host, Dr. Lois, myself, Lady D. Thank you for tuning in to Sisters Strengthening Sisters TV show. Join us again on next week, where we'll have more for you. You have a blessed and safe day. Be blessed.
Thank you.